The hospital corridor smelled of antiseptic and betrayal. She lay in the delivery room, her body trembling from hours of labor, gripping the sheets as the nurse whispered something she would never forget. "He's gone." Outside, her husband stood smiling beside another woman, dressed in an elegant designer gown, cameras flashing around them. The news headline would hit her phone moments later. "Local businessman marries his boss in private ceremony." What no one knew, not even the man who left her gasping for air, was that just hours before, she had closed a deal that would change the course of history, and his fate forever. Amara Johnson had spent her life outsmarting those who underestimated her. Born in a small southern town where her skin color was often a silent sentence, she grew up fighting for every opportunity. She worked through school, landed a job in finance, and quickly rose through the ranks, not because doors were opened for her, but because she broke them down herself. Her husband, Daniel, had always been charming. Too charming. They met at a networking event where he promised her the kind of future they could build together. For years, she believed him. They married, moved into a modest home, and planned for their first child. But beneath the wedding vows and shared dreams, cracks were forming. Daniel envied her success. While she navigated billion-dollar contracts, he struggled to keep his own small business afloat. His resentment grew silently, feeding off whispers from people who said a woman like her didn't belong in the high-rise boardrooms she now dominated. In the months leading to her due date, Amara was working on the largest deal of her career, a merger worth over $100 billion. It wasn't just a business transaction, it was a statement. She was about to become the first black woman to lead such a deal on Wall Street. The night before she went into labor, Daniel barely spoke to her. He claimed he was stressed about money, but Amara felt something else, something cold in his voice. She didn't know that while she was packing her hospital bag, he was already packing his suit for a different kind of ceremony. The contractions began before sunrise. Amara tried to wake Daniel, but he was already dressed, pacing the living room with his phone in hand. "I've got to take care of something," he mumbled, avoiding her eyes. She thought nothing of it. Maybe he was calling the hospital to check arrangements. By the time she was admitted, Daniel had vanished. Her calls went unanswered. Nurses came in and out, assuming he had stepped out for coffee. But when hours passed, Amara's hands shook, not from labor alone, but from dread. On her phone, between contractions, she saw a social media post. There he was, Daniel, in a tailored navy suit, standing beside a woman she recognized only from vague descriptions. Victoria Hale, his boss. A caption read, "Surprise wedding, Daniel and Victoria tie the knot in an intimate ceremony this morning." Her chest tightened. She remembered the times Daniel complained about rich white folks at his job, how they flaunted their money, how they treated him like a pet project. But when Victoria's father died, leaving her in control of a vast corporate empire, Daniel saw something else: opportunity. The betrayal was brutal enough, but the layers beneath it cut deeper. Victoria was from the very world that had tried to keep Amara out. In one morning, Daniel had not only abandoned his black wife on the day she was giving birth, he had aligned himself with the same elite who would have gladly watched her fail. Still, Amara's mind was sharp, even through pain. She thought about the $100 billion deal she had been finalizing. She remembered the closed-door negotiations, the signatures, the handshake that had sealed it just 12 hours earlier. Daniel didn't know she had already secured it, and that the deal indirectly controlled one of Victoria's largest business interests. Hours later, as her baby's cries filled the delivery room, Amara felt an unexpected calm wash over her. Her son, her legacy, was here. But as she held him, the weight of betrayal pressed hard on her chest. By afternoon, News channels were buzzing about Daniel and Victoria's wedding. Clips of them laughing under crystal chandeliers played on repeat. What no one expected was the breaking news that interrupted their honeymoon coverage. Historic 100B merger announced, led by Wall Street's first black female executive. The press conference showed Amara, still glowing from childbirth, standing at a podium. Her voice was steady, her posture unshaken. She didn't mention Daniel. She didn't need to. The world was connecting the dots on its own. Victoria's company, as it turned out, was one of the smaller firms that would now be under Amara's control post-merger. Contracts were already signed. Decisions about staffing, leadership, and restructuring were hers to make. And she made them. Daniel's cushy new position as the CEO's husband didn't last long. Within a month, the branch he managed was dissolved under strategic restructuring. Victoria, faced with shareholder pressure, began selling off assets, including the one Daniel had hoped to inherit. The man who left her in a hospital bed for a richer life now found himself unemployed, living in a rented apartment, watching his new marriage crumble under financial strain. Amara never sought revenge. She didn't need to. Life had a way of returning the energy people gave out. She focused on her son, on building a future where he would never question his worth or place in the world. The media hailed her as a trailblazer, but she stayed grounded. She knew that every headline, every award, was a reminder to those who thought her skin, her gender, or her background made her less. One afternoon, while walking her baby through the park, she saw Daniel sitting alone on a bench. His suit was wrinkled, his eyes hollow. He looked up, but she didn't stop. She owed him no words, no acknowledgement. The silence between them was her final closure. Her story became a symbol, not just of personal triumph, but of resilience, in the face of racism and betrayal. She showed the world that success wasn't about revenge. It was about building something so powerful that those who tried to break you couldn't even reach you anymore. And as she kissed her son's forehead that night, she whispered the truth she had learned. They may try to write your story for you, but you hold the pen.